Hi Sagittarius, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Astrogirl and we're looking at April 3 through April 9. And there's big news this week. Every cloud has its silver lining. And Sagittarius, even though the forecast for this week is mainly cloudy, there are a few rays of sunshine. The first sunbeam is late Wednesday, April 5, when Mars, the motivator, makes a productive Earth trine to Pluto. If you don't take advantage of this trine this week, you get a second shot at it in October. There is big news early the next day, April 6th, when Saturn decides to go out of phase or retrograde in your second house of self-esteem and self-worth. The good news about the Saturn retrograde is that success will be yours if you buckle down and tackle any unfinished business. The next 5 months of the Saturn retrograde period are not good times to try to change the status quo, especially in Saturn-ruled areas like your career or in dealings with authority figures. There's another day of sunshine expected on April 7, which is Friday, when Jupiter sits opposite the Sun. Jupiter in Libra and the Sun in Aries. So it really is a fire-air meeting. This restless face-off occurs once a year and brings with it a general feeling of optimism. Depending on how Jupiter is configured in your natal chart, it can also open the door to travel and broadening your perspective through higher education. The shadow side of the Sun-Jupiter meetup includes exaggerating the sunny side of life and overextending yourself. A dark cloud is on the horizon on Saturday, April 8, when Venus makes the second of 4 squares with Saturn. Although Venus is still in Pisces, the difference between this square and the first one in January is that Venus is now retrograding in Pisces and has been for some time. And unfortunately, Venus retrograde in a square with Saturn retrograde is a double negative and double trouble for love, self-esteem, and money. So this is one of those times when we're going to have to really dig deep for our self-esteem and not hang out with people who make us feel like we're trying to keep up with the Kardashians all the time. More storms are on the way later on Saturday when the Aries sun squares off with Pluto. That's when your desires can clash with bigger circumstances and you may get mixed up in an intense power struggle. The final icing on the cake is going to happen on Sunday when Mercury, the communicator, goes out of phase or retrograde for the next 3 weeks. So by the end of the week, there will be 4 major players retrograding. More on that next week, but it's safe to say it's interesting times we are living in. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll speak to you again next week.